Can this old GoPro be any good for YouTube? I guess let's find out. I know that buying a new camera for YouTube can be an expensive endeavor, but does it have to be? For the past few years, I've been using variety of different cameras for my YouTube channels. I use literally everything, started from webcams, going to GoPro, going to the phone, and at the end going to the dedicated DSLR. But was this GoPro actually any good for YouTube, and is it actually worth the price, which is the most important thing to answer? So in this video we'll be breaking down whether this old GoPro that can be bought for pretty cheap is any good for YouTube, or whether you should completely ignore it and move on to something else. So let's find out. Okay, let's start by breaking down the most important factor, the price. Yes, no matter how much I will talk about the effectiveness and usefulness and features of any camera, the price will be the most important and deciding factor in buying any camera. Because no matter how good the camera is, if you cannot afford it, you will not buy it. So in this video's case, we'll be discussing GoPro Hero 6 or GoPro Hero 5 for the price. They're practically the same GoPros. The only noticeable differences between these, which will look exactly the same, is that GoPro Hero 6, which is this one, can record up to 4K 60 FPS, while GoPro Hero 5 can record only up to 4K 30 FPS. And as a full-time YouTuber, I can safely say that unless you're recording very quick and insanely detailed shots outside, you don't really need ever 4K 60 FPS. You just don't. You never do. Trust me. So you can find GoPro Hero 5 used for less than $100, and if you look well enough, you will even find GoPro Hero 6 for less than $100 used. Why used? Because these cameras are built like a tank. There's a very little things that you can do with this camera to actually damage it inside. You can see some bits and scratches outside, but inside, this thing is rock solid. So ignore how the camera looks visually and just buy the camera used for less than $100. Now, let's move on to the important parts of these bad boys. Let's talk about pros and cons, at least for the YouTube use case scenarios. First is quickness of recording of this camera. All you need to start recording on this camera is just press start recording, and it will start recording in mere seconds. Just like that. I will show you right here as well. I'm gonna go and press start recording, and just 3 seconds or less, it's actually recording me. Hello. Even if you're holding a phone in your hands, it might take longer to start the camera app and start recording. So if you want quick recordings for your YouTube videos where you just point the camera and press record, then this camera is simply amazing for that. Another great thing about the GoPro is that the footage on the GoPro is actually stabilized. Compared to anything else of this size, the footage coming from this camera is very, very stable because it is made for handheld and quick recordings. So if you want like really quick and steady shots, this thing is perfect for that. Now, last important pro that I want to talk about is its lens. There is no interchangeable lens on the GoPro Hero 6 or 5, but it is incredibly wide angle lens. No, it's extremely wide angle lens if you are recording it in a super view. You can actually put a lot in a shot when you're recording on a GoPro. There is practically nothing that you'll put in front of the GoPro and that it will not record or fit inside this frame. But now moving to the cons, this wide angle lens is actually the con as well. Because sometimes you need some tight shots and you cannot do this with a GoPro. Like for example, right now, the angle that I'm recording now, it's impossible on a GoPro. Even if you go into the linear mode, it will just crop wide angle just a bit. Another con of this GoPro is its awful recording in a low light conditions. The biggest reason why I switched from the GoPro was that it's extremely difficult to get clean video in a low light condition, no matter what resolution you're recording on. Because as you can see, my room is pretty dark. I have dark walls and very little lighting. And this room is actually located in a basement, so I don't have a natural lighting here as well. Only a little bit. There's a very small window above the monitor right there. And you will need pretty powerful lighting to record any type of clean shots, and it is extremely difficult to get this exact point where ISO and shutter speed is just perfect to get a clean shot. And even when you get these perfect conditions, the YouTube compression just completely destroys that still, and you are not getting amazing quality shots. Don't get me wrong, it's not awful video, but it's nowhere near to the dedicated camera quality. If you want to see how the GoPro video actually looks like, check out my videos in early 2020. You will see all of my videos were recorded with a GoPro there. I think I was recording on a GoPro till mid 2020. But don't get me wrong, outside, if you're recording the videos outside in a natural lighting, these videos are extremely clean. They look great. There's very little things that you can do to complain about recording the videos outside. You've seen probably dozens of sports videos recording with this, so it's pretty clean. This thing is great for outside, but inside, not so much. And there is another con that is extremely important for YouTube videos. It's an audio. Yes, like any camera, GoPro has the microphone as well, and it captures audio as well. But just like any camera microphones, it's just awful. Your phone actually records much more clean audio than the GoPro does. Don't get me wrong, it's not unusable, it's not like very old camera quality. It is pretty usable, but if your voice is extremely important, which it is, then GoPro is not a greatest thing for your audio. The only way to get a decent audio from the GoPro is actually using an external microphone, but here, where it complicates things even more. The GoPro does not have a headphone jack, but it has a USB-C, which supports a microphone adapters, but only made by GoPro, which there is only one. It does not accept any other adapter. So why is this a problem? Because GoPro adapter costs $50. So if you want an ability to connect external microphone to your $100 camera, you will need $50 adapter. I'm not talking about the $50 microphone, I'm talking about $50 adapter, which is insane. And prices on these adapters are not going down because GoPro has the monopoly on it. So, judging from all the pros and all the cons, who is this camera will be great for YouTube videos? I would say that one of the greatest use cases of this camera is vlogging. Because of its extremely wide angle lens, you can record yourself pretty easily and you don't need a pretty large distance as well. You can record it from pretty close while fitting a lot in a shot. Of course, if you don't need a dedicated audio for that, because yeah, audio for that is not that good. And with a super view of this camera, you can fit practically anything in a shot, so there is practically no excuse to not fit something in a shot. Yes, audio is still an issue, but if you can somehow record externally, this issue can be solved. But what about internal recording? What about recording inside the room, like I'm recording right now? If you have good lighting, meaning that if you're recording near the windows with the natural lighting, or if you have a dedicated good lights, then it can actually look pretty good. And here, the wide angle lens comes into play again, because with this lens, you can record in pretty tight spaces as well. Well, to give you an example, like this camera, which I recorded 60mm, requires around 1 to 2 meters distance from me, like it's 3 to 6 feet for US users. This is the distance that camera is requiring to fit this shot. While GoPro will require at max quarter of that to fit exact same shot. So it can be placed very close to you while still recording quite a wide space. And because of this, another great use case scenario comes for a GoPro for streaming and as a webcam. Yes, you can actually use GoPro as a streaming camera or as a webcam. All you need to do is connect it to your computer through the capture card, even through the cheapest one. I have an actual video dedicated to that. I think it's somewhere right here, which I got for only $4. And you can use the GoPro as a regular webcam, and pretty good one for that matter. And if you're using it for this case scenario, you'll probably have a dedicated microphone regardless, and you will not even worry about the GoPro's audio. And because of its wide angle lens, you don't need a lot of space, and you can fit a lot to use it as a webcam or as a streaming camera. But how does it compare with other cameras? I want to show you the different comparisons between different cameras to help you to make a choice. And well, here it is. So here you see GoPro Hero 6, Logitech C922, my iPhone SE through the Epoch Cam app, and the dedicated DSLR, my Sony A7C. I've adjusted the lighting for different cameras because different cameras require different lighting. So what do you think? Which one looks better? Let me know in the comments down below. The greatest comparison here probably will be with the phone camera. Does it look better than a phone? Just to give you an understanding of the pricing, the GoPro setup costs around $100, which includes the GoPro itself, capture card, and HDMI cable. While the phone setup includes, well, just the phone, which you probably already have, and the Epoch Cam app, which costs, I think, around $8. Decide for yourself which one actually looks better. Overall, is GoPro a good YouTube camera? If you're looking for the camera that is great for everything that is YouTube related, then no, the audio on this camera is just simply not that great. So you cannot use GoPro as all-in-one tool for your videos. And if you're looking for the vlogging camera where audio is not that big of an issue, or you're recording it externally, or you don't actually care about audio, then yeah, it's actually a pretty great vlogging camera. And especially if you're recording a lot of videos outside in a broad daylight, then yes, this camera is great for that. And if you're looking a good replacement for your webcam or for your streaming camera where audio is not an issue because most likely you have an external audio, where the lighting is not an issue because most likely you have a dedicated lighting, then yes, again, this is an amazing option. And as you can see, you need to be quite specific in your usage to use the GoPro as your camera, because unfortunately, in many cases, it just doesn't work. But in the case that it does work, it works amazing. And overall, in my opinion, if you're serious about a YouTube, it is a great initial investment. Well, this will be all about the GoPro. Let me know what you think about the comments down below. And well, don't forget to hit that beautiful subscribe button right there. And don't forget to check out the video specifically chosen for you. And the video by me. You can see it right there. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.